Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kristaps, as Emily said, and this is my colleague Roberts.
Hi.
And we are from company TestDevLab. It's our first time being at FinDEVr, and so far it's looking good. And it's a real honor to speak to you guys and girls. So I suppose that not many of you have heard about the company TestDevLab before. So a quick information about what we do and what we are. So our company was founded in 2011. We are doing quality assurance and software development stuff, and it was founded by two Skype engineers. So they know how to do things, and then we are trying to deliver world-class quality assurance services to our customers throughout the globe. And last week we counted that applications and the services that we test are being used by 1.5 billion people around the world. And we have some experience with fintech clients too. So I would even say that this is the vertical that we feel really comfortable in. We work with money transfer service Worldremit. We work with P2P lending services like Mintos and Green Finance, and work with one of the biggest Scandinavian banks, SEB, and with National Bank of Latvia. There are some projects that we are doing. And so as we are doing a lot of quality assurance service work, lately we started to develop our own product because we see the need to ease specific things that we can help customers. And by testing mobile apps, hundreds and then thousands of mobile apps, we see that development cycles of these apps are becoming even shorter and shorter. It looks like every second week there are new features added, and there's constant pressure to add new features and to improve your apps. And we see that three big pillars. For example, you need to be really fast, that the speed of development need to be really fast. You need to make sure that your product is in great quality, and of course it must be secure. And what you need is need to find the right balance between those three things. And if you fail at one of these things, then it can be a harm to your reputation of your company, or client would choose just another application because competition is really fierce nowadays. And some say that consumers are evolving more rapidly than businesses, and we see that in certain cases it's true. And by testing mobile apps, we see that there are certain areas where problems can be made, and then where those problems can be real risks. For example, mechanisms of authentication, some stuff with storage, obfuscation of code is another thing, and of course app permissions and then some network activity. And then we thought, okay, we can test these things, and we can build a platform that can help developers and managers to check their mobile application in a really fast and easy way. And that's why we created our solution. It's called MAST. It stands for Mobile Automation Security Toolset. And it basically goes through every of those 6 areas that I shown earlier. We've created on top of them what we call validators. And it works like that. For example, you can upload your Android APK file or iOS IPA file, and in a matter of 10 to 15 minutes, your application will be analyzed, and you will be shown a report that shows where problems can arise. It identifies weak parts of your business application. So it's really fast, easy to use. The best part is that we don't need to see your code of the application. We will try to get to it. And for now, product is in beta. And then we are working hard on it, adding new validators and planning some more features, for example, integration with CI tools. And now I would like to show the demo of it. So, okay, so this one is a sample report. We wanted to show you like in real time, but as this analysis took to take 10, 15 minutes, so it's not possible. So on the left sidebar, we see report names. For example, if we upload more applications, for example, different versions of applications, it will just show down there. Then we have summary of the application. the package name, the version, the size, and the rating. Rating is compiled of the results for these validators. And these are the validators that we have added. And for example, first one is obfuscation detector for developers code. So
basically we have this description and problem and logs for each validator. And for obfuscation, we basically have separated this into the two parts, developers code and third-party code. And this basically means that we have seen some patterns in folder structure, and we have separated the code into two parts. And here we can see that for developers code, our validator detected 0%. It means that developers code is easy to read for someone else and can be easily adjusted to change some classes and even delete things in the application.
And this validator is divided in two parts. One part is for developers code, and another part is for third-party code. For example, libraries that you are plugging into your application, so we can test these two. And in this case, we see that code of third-party code is obfuscated a bit more. Another validator is a certificate pinning validator. So
this basically means that to use certificate pinning, you have to hard code your server's public key in your application. This makes your application more secure because it's not just using a regular checking, certificate checking, which means that regular checking only checks the host name and if the certificate is trusted. But if you hard code your certificate in application, then you really know that you're using exactly that one certificate, and no one can change that.
Another one of authentication validator is searching for hex or base64 strings in your code.
Yeah, this is a really bad practice to leave like base64 strings laying around in your application. We find those strings and we try to decode them, and in some cases we have even seen passwords coming up. And yeah, so passwords laying around in your application is not a good practice for security.
Yeah, and another one is the HTTP endpoint validator.
Yeah, this is another not so good practice. You shouldn't use any HTTP endpoints, but you should use secure HTTPS endpoints. Sometimes we even see HTTP endpoints laying around and we check them and change the address to HTTPS, and we see that you can use HTTPS, but you are using HTTP, which means that it's bad practice.
Next one is storage validator that checks if application leaves files. And we see in some cases that the application, even after it's uninstalled or not used, it leaves files.
Yeah.
And then there is the app permissions detector that shows the permissions that app is requesting the user.
Yeah. Sometimes we have seen like really simple applications requiring access to your SMS, record audio, and read contacts. Why you need that? Some developers just become lazy and don't see the real problems. You should only require the permissions that you need, not every possible permission.
And the last one of validators is a network activity detector. It detects all HTTP requests and that are executed by application.
Yeah, and we try to see if we decode those HTTP requests and we see plain text, in those requests, and this also is not a good practice. Yeah, so.
Yep. So to sum up, it's a really fast way of checking your application. For example, if it's just pre-release status, you can run the tests and see if there are some risky stuff left over in the application, and you can easily export or share this report throughout your team. And yeah, we are working really hard to add new features and to add more validators for Android and for iOS. So, thank you. If you have some questions, do you test on real devices or emulators? We test these on real devices. We have a lot of devices. We've gathered them in device farms, and we test on real devices.
But for those two validators, we actually install your application on a real device. For storage validator and for network activity validator, we install your application on a real device, and we run your application, then check the behavior on that device.
Mm-hmm. Second question, do you do white box testing as well?
Not exactly.
Not in this product, but actually we do, of course.
As a company, we do, yeah.
Can testing be done and performed as an automated part of continuous delivery? We're working on that. It's not in the product right now, but we are working on integrations with different services. Is there anything surprising that you discover when testing technologies? Sometimes we are surprised about the errors that are being put into your applications. Sometimes it's because of laziness, sometimes it's because of just best practices, but okay, not every day, but every month we see some really, really strange stuff.
Sometimes you're surprised how easily you can break an application.
Yeah, yeah. What tools are you using? Yeah? What tools are you using for testing? It depends on platform, it depends on the devices that we test, a wide range of tools. We can later talk at the stand about this one. Your example was on Android. What about other technologies, iOS, web? This product, Mast, works with Android and iOS. For Android, we have these 6 or 7 validators.
Around 7, yeah.
Around 7 validators. We are working hard to bring more validators for iOS. But for now, it's more validators for Android platform. But we are working on iOS too. And for web testing, we have different solutions and then different stuff. Can you test user interaction throughout the app? How are user test cases defined? In this product, we don't test user interaction, but we can do that also, like different projects with different tools, not in Mast. Is it possible to use it as internal application not accessible on the web? We are not there yet in terms of like thinking how to use the product, but we can talk about that, of course. What area are your testing services most in demand? I would say that automation is the most like asked and then demanded side of testing. We try to automate all we can, web and mobile, of course. Do you do non-functional test performance response time? Yes, we do, but not in this current product, in different products we have. Who is responsible for the rule set definition? Who guarantees that a green flag means my application is really okay?
It depends on each validator, basically. For example, if your permissions validator has permissions with protection level dangers like read SMS, read your contacts, we mark that as a higher risk. That's just one example.
Okay. Were those all the possible problems, or was that a subset for this particular example? In this example, we created the test application that shows how a validator works. Because in real life, usually we don't see as many red validators. responsive. So,
Yeah.
but they are not green also. So it's somewhere in the middle. Which is more problematic, Android or iOS? That's a tricky question.
For scanning, it's harder to scan iOS because it's iOS. But Android, you can access everything and read everything. And basically, if your code is not obfuscated, we can see everything. We can even get to the plain JavaScript.
But problems can be found in iOS applications and Android applications, so there is no difference in that respect. So thank you.